The organization I worked for was in the community we lived in, so I would frequently see clients when we went out. I wouldn't tell my friends who they were because I can't for privacy reasons. But then afterwards they would come up to me and be like, why are you always talking to these homeless people? Or why are you talking to that guy? He's crazy. Like, aren't you nervous? Aren't you worried? I think there are a number of misconceptions about mental illness in the general public. For example, like with bipolar disorder, you get this tendency for people to say, oh, that person's bipolar, they're moody, like they're happy now and then they're sad 5 minutes later, which is not what bipolar disorder is at all. And on the same note, like with depression, people think that being depressed just means being sad. It's hard for me to watch TV and movies sometimes because it seems like everyone wants to portray mental illness these days. And it's just very, like, the most stereotypical parts of mental illness are portrayed. Specifically with Empire and Andre and his bipolar disorder, they do a really good job with mania and portraying what mania looks like. But then there's a scene where he gets taken away because he has this breakdown. And the men come running in white suits and they have the shots ready, and it's just like really unrealistic. And in the Silver Linings Playbook, they do a good job of talking about medication management. It can be really difficult, especially with bipolar disorder, for persons with bipolar disorder to want to take their medications, because mania is a wonderful thing. You feel high, like you're really up there, everything's going great, you're on top of the world, you can get so much done. Who would want to take medication that would take that away? So, in the same way that they make Pat violent in Silver Linings Playbook, they tend to make these characteristic traits be symptoms of mental illness. So what I mean when I say that is, instead of someone just being a vindictive person, it's they're vindictive because they have mental illness. Or someone's angry because they have mental illness. When, in general, there's a lot of people out here who are just angry or vindictive. So you have all these negative attributes being associated with mental illness, which then contributes to this kind of culture of fear around mental illness. I think it can be really helpful to people who are just learning they have a mental illness, or to the general public, if mental illness was incorporated into TVs and movies as part of who a character is, like another level, instead of making that the storyline. So instead of having the character with bipolar disorder be the entire show, you could just have a character with bipolar disorder who also goes through all these other experiences that happen to be the point of the show. I think that would go a long way to normalizing mental illness and showing people that people with mental illness are normal.